Good morning. What a lovely morning. That red kind of interesting. Wow. Roosters are going off. Another day in the neighborhood. Another new day. Well, a few things to talk about this morning. Expectations. I'm just enjoying the view. The mornings come alive with the sound of God's creatures. I hear pigs whining way in the background, roosters, some other birds, a symphony, an absolute morning symphony. Now let's talk about expectations. Okay, here we go. You know, nobody on YouTube has to really prove anything to anybody, but sometimes you can get some enjoyment from doing that, as I do. It just seems that people are so hellbound on trying to find fault with somebody. What you doing? Stop. So hellbound on trying to find fault with somebody. Then when somebody comes forward and says, okay, I'll give you a little bit of challenge. Now, look, I'm no Ansel Adams. I'm no one famous, but, you know, when it comes to photography, I'm not a bad photographer. But let me cement some stuff here. Oh, he's never showed anything with your name on it, or some of the comments I've seen on Copycat or something. And this is usual. Then when you do actually present something, okay, it's like, oh shit, he did it again. We can't have this. We can't have this. There'll be a bunch of lame comments there. Always, always, always. I honestly have never seen, not to this degree, so many people that are so goddamn jealous of what somebody else does. Look, I'm not the pretender. I'm not from the band Pretenders either. Things with me are what they are, and I'm not afraid to present who I am. And we're going to get to another topic. Steve, what's his name? Paul's eyes. Okay, but we'll get to that. So one of the typical things that happens here on YouTube is people try to challenge you. You can't do this, you can't do that, you never met this person, you never, I don't see no proof, I don't, I mean, first of all, look, you don't have to prove nothing to me, and I certainly don't have to prove anything to anybody, really. It's really a voluntary thing, whether you want to go that length, you want to go that distance to prove anything to anybody, you know. But I get pleasure, you know. I told you there's a lot of crow out there that needs to be eaten. And they'll come on their shows and they'll knock you and say, "Oh yeah, I never seen any proof of this. I never seen any proof of that." Now, number one, nobody, including myself and the troll, they don't have to prove anything. I don't expect anybody to prove anything. Not really, because I don't really give a shit. I really don't. But I like to toy with the trolls now and again. Actually, pretty often. Actually. Oh yeah, you've never seen, maybe these are the newbies, but I don't know. You know, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. What you did in school or having to show anybody that, yeah, I really did all these things. I really was published. I really was blah, 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 blah. No, I don't have to do that. But you see, I get pleasure in doing that because here's what happens. Here's what happens all the time. Oh, yeah, you made a lot of claims, Frank, that you did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. You never showed us proof, as usual. You're a phony, you're a bullshit artist, this, that. So when you voluntarily kind of beat them to the punch, when you voluntarily, and as I said, nobody has to prove anything to anybody, really. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. It's certainly not necessary. But I like to go the extra distance sometimes. I mean, I truly do. And yesterday I did a video. Of course, they tried to tear everything apart. And I kind of met their challenge. Oh, yeah, he's been published. Bullshit. Where's the proof? Well, the only thing I didn't put on there really was proof that I did have 2 bodies of work with the New York Historical Society. And the only way I could prove that, I have a piece of paper. It was actually a receipt that they've received this and it's in their archive collection. I'm probably sure I got something of that too. But you see, I don't have to go that distance. But one of the common things that happens on here is they try to call you out. And they figure that, well, you're not going to meet their expectations. You see, it's real easy to call somebody a name or said, you never done anything with your life. And, well, the very people that say that are the very ones that never did. And when they see that, yeah, okay, well, he actually did these things. And what are we going to say now? Because he actually showed some proof. That's when they just get really riled up. And they do. They get all riled up. Oh, shit. He presented something. What do we do now? Well, then they start calling you more names. That makes it all worthwhile, when you actually present something and show them that they're wrong. It's hard for them to handle, especially Don C. Oh, man, he takes things really personal. And when I did present that, I saw comments, pictures and stuff. I saw comments of his somewhere. Yeah, but I got more money than you. I mean, how old are these people? Don is like, what is he, 68? And he sounded like children. Yeah, okay, but, you're never going to you don't have the kind of money I have. So in other words, I'm being challenged by people saying, oh, you're so full of shit all the time. Everything you say, Frank, is bullshit. According to them. I'm actually one of the few people on here that's, has actually came through and backed up whatever he's talked about. And I've done that so many times. So I decided yesterday, I said, well, let me have a little fun with this. The things that were being said is Frank said he did this, met this person, or did that, or whatever. Of course, they want to throw some mud pies in your face. Then they'll go as far as saying, well, he's never shown proof of anything. Actually, I have in the past. And, you could look at this as, I don't know, should I challenge this and have a little fun? And that's exactly what I decided to do. So some of the points that were being made is that, oh, he never went to college, he never did this, he never did that, never did this. He says he did this or knows this person or published or this and that and this and that. And I shoved it down their throat is what I did in a big way. The only thing I didn't prove is the Microsoft collection. I don't know where the paperwork is at. Yes, I do have 7 photographs. And Microsoft has their own gallery, an art gallery in different media. Now, I have no proof that I had it there because I don't have any paperwork. You got to get a receipt, and of course, you're paid for them to buy your photographs. And the other thing was the New York, the Historical Society, okay, which has two bodies of my work in their collection. No, I couldn't find the paperwork on that. I might have that one, but I'm not, going to sift through all that just to prove that. I did what I had to do just to have a good laugh and just to kind of shove it in their face a little bit, as they like to do to me. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. It's morning. I'm gonna have to take everything out of my storage boxes and rearrange everything I put in there so it fits. Because decided to go into there and take some of the magazines out and so forth, and that had photographs published in one form or way. I'm glad I did actually because it was so unorganized in there. One of the frames had glass broken in there, and that could have got cut in the future if I didn't realize that piece of glass was kind of floating around. So, one of my efforts to do this morning, as I allow myself to wake up a bit, get energized, is to go back to this thing and try to arrange everything in there properly because I decided to go into that to take out some of this material and photographs and magazine publications. Oh, the one thing I didn't put in there was another magazine called Camera 35. It was a leading competitor to Popular Photography magazine. Yeah, I had a photograph in there too. I didn't present that. There's one other magazine. So what's the point of this? The point of this is getting a good laugh and getting a reaction. Because prior to, and I did before, but people don't remember, I've showed stuff before. But for those that never seen, there was always those comments about, oh yeah, I'm sure you did this, I'm sure you did that. He's just full of shit. Well, I'm one of the few people who could actually prove things. Remember, like I said, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. But it's fun when you get to actually do it. Then they don't know what to say, except they still come at you again. Yeah, but, or Don will react and say, well, yeah, but I make more money than you. How old are these people? How old are these people? Yeah, but okay, now that he proves something. Okay, but yeah, but I make more money than you. Well, chances are you probably do, Don C. I never said you didn't. I never said you didn't. Good morning, Brisket. Sam Plippy will be eating crow for breakfast today. Oh, they already have. Well, my point, Brisket, was you don't have to challenge people. You don't have to prove anything you've done in your life to anybody. You know what you've done. You know what schools you've attended. You know what education you had. You know what degrees you have or whatever. And you know what you've done. And you know that you've accomplished certain things in your life that a lot of people haven't. We're not talking anything grandiose. I didn't climb Mount Everest or something like that or whatever. But the point being is that they're really quick on drawing that gun, taking it out of their holster. But when you present the faster gun, they can't even get their gun out of the holster. I don't know if that's a good, hmm, what kind of a weird statement, but I don't know. I'll go with it. I'll go with it. Let's see. Oh, okay. So basically, I was hearing a lot of comments that Frank claims this, Frank claims that, Frank claims this. And historically, since I've been on YouTube, um, people have criticized just about everybody, and certainly me. And the famous lines are, yeah, he's a liar, he's a bullshit artist, he never did this, he never did that. So, you have a choice. Should I challenge these guys or not? Should I? Should I? Occasionally I will do that. So, when they're too busy just mouthing off and critiquing somebody, criticizing somebody all the time, and you actually come forward and make them eat crow, they get even more cantankerous. And some of the lame comments I'll read, but go back, go and read the comments. Don't listen to me. Go to the replay channel that they now call it. Same person, just a different title. I don't know. Maybe they got their old show was taken down. I don't know. Who cares? And if you read some of the comments on there, you see exactly what I'm talking about. Complete jealousy. Complete jealousy. And that's really all it's been this whole time. Jealousy. Green-eyed monsters that, you mean there's actually somebody on YouTube that actually accomplished something? Doesn't have to be something major, you know. And I don't really consider anything I've done in my photography to be major. And I never mentioned that I had exhibits to in a couple of galleries in Soho. I never mentioned that either. In New York City, by the way. I don't have to present my jewels on the living room table. I don't have to really prove anything to anybody. But there are times that I get complete enjoyment in making a total buffoon out of them. Put it this way. Trolls are as such is that no matter what you do to prove them wrong, they just get more upset when you challenge them and you actually show them that you're full of shit. I'm not the one that's full of shit. They're full of shit. Because these people have not had any achievements in their life. At least nothing that I've ever seen on here since I've been on with certain YouTubers, troll YouTubers. Okay. Now, by and large, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to prove whether you're living a good life. You don't have to prove that you're financially stable. You don't have to prove that you're happy in your relationship. You're living that life, not them. They can toss out all the trash they want, but it always winds up in their own backyard. Seemingly so. I did like the reaction, Don. See, I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, no matter what, but I make more money than you. Dude, you're like 68 years old, Don. You sound like children. Jealous little children because the other child at his birthday got a better present or something, and you're going to have little tantrums. You're actually having tantrums. Bona fide freaking fucking tantrums. How many comments I've seen the other day I showed? Oh yeah, Frank talks about this and then there's all this Edith Beale shit and all that crap and his photography and he's never done anything. Yeah, where's the proof? Where's the name to prove it's yours or or something lame like that. Something just totally fucking lame. Isn't it amazing? The lengths they go through out of just pure jealousy. Okay. The only achievements many of them have is their list of comorbidities. Now that's a word I never use. See, I'll admit that. I never used that word. In fact, I never heard that word. But see, I'm not afraid to show, for example, someone presents something I don't understand, was never privy to or never heard of. It could be a word, it could be whatever. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I have no reason to be. I'm not a person to admit to who is afraid to admit to fault. A lot of people can't do that. Hold on a second. But I gotta tell you, I get a lot of enjoyment out of proving people wrong. But like I said, and I'll continue saying, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. I mean, who are these people anyway? Nobody deserves really an explanation on anything. They don't. If I said I met, if it was some kind of celebrity or whatever the hell it was, then that's what I did. I have absolutely no reason at all to make up something. There are two or more diseases, okay, or conditions that occur in person at the same time. These conditions can be physical. It looks like you just went and read the definition. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll admit, I don't know the word. I have no embarrassment about that. I don't know everything. And I certainly don't pretend to know everything. That's the difference between me and these people. I'll be up front and say, okay, like somebody presented a new word to me that I personally haven't heard of. And I'll say, yeah, I don't understand what that is. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything because I don't know everything. You know the routine here. Ouch, that is hot. All right, but moving beyond that. I did last night, had a wild hair, and decided to go through my box of goodies, my different types of photographs, and a small amount too, actually. There was quite a bit more. There's wisdom in knowing what you don't know. Yeah. No, I will never pretend that I know everything. Let's put it this way. I know a whole lot of shit about a whole lot of things, but how does that saying go? Someone told me this a long time ago. Let's see, I know a whole lot of I know a little about a lot of things, but I don't remember that saying. It was actually quite an interesting statement. It basically says I know about a lot of stuff. I may not be expert in all, but basically, I know a little about a lot. But it goes on beyond that. Again, maybe someone could fulfill that statement or something on there, but I was living back in Seattle. There was one dude I know, he said something that I always remembered, and at this point I forgot what he said, but it was a really profound statement. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's what the guy meant. He just meant that he has knowledge about a lot of things, but I still can't complete that because I want to be real on this. I want to be remember exactly what he said, so I'll just let it go on that. But it's a pretty profound statement. Remember, okay. So last night I went the distance. I said, "Well, what the hell?" I said, "What the hell?" So I decided to take out some photographs and magazines I had things published in. But don't forget, though, the naysayers, says that you never did anything, you never did such, you never accomplished anything. Well, last night I decided to bite on this, and I decided to go into my little magic box of photographs for storage. And sorry I did because now I got to put it all together. But later on this morning, hope I don't get cut in the process because some pieces of glass in there too. So I have to put that all together. But there's a few things I need to search in there for anyway, so it might be worthwhile. Uh, anyway, I had a show. I don't know if the signal was that bad on some little piece of the show in the beginning. The signal was kind of going in and out. But I did a show last night for the hell of it, you know, and I had to dish out a few more plates of crow, especially to Don C. and all his heebie-jeebies followers and whatever, cousin trolls and so forth. And I got enjoyment out of doing that. In fact, I liked looking back on this stuff because it's been a while. So when someone says you've never done anything in your life, you never accomplished anything, I'm sorry, but I don't know anybody. I mean, a lot of people say they got money or this or that. I have never seen anybody on here back up anything that they said. I mean, they don't have to back up being an asshole if they're an asshole. We all know that already. But people talk a big talk. They don't walk the walk, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So when people make a unfounded statement, unqualified statement, oh yeah, you never did anything, you claim this and you boast about this and boast. I don't really boast. I don't really boast about anything. Not really. I talk about perhaps people I've met. I talk about where I traveled, you know, and I'm certainly not a worldwide traveler. I could lie about that too. I'm not worldwide travel. But the one thing I don't lie about for sure, and I don't really lie on my show, but the naysayers said, you're all full of shit. You're all full of shit, Frank. Right, Don, especially Don. Don really has it out for me, let me tell you. I'm not sure what his problem is, but get over it. Get over it. Get over yourself. Even our favorite boy, Barry, the jailbird, he'll throw comedy. Oh, he's supposed to be in Big Kid's Son. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. The boy's supposed to be in Big Kid Tom, but there he was. I seen a comment on the, now it's called the replay channel now. I don't know. He made a lame comment. He didn't do nothing. He can't prove anything. He's a liar, liar, liar. I remember some kind of a. I gotta drink something, that's for sure. Some kind of a lame statement, short and sweet, and. So he's supposed to be in Bikiton. Really? Wow, you mean you blended into the scenery there and you built up the trust of the trustees and all there that they're going to let you use your phone in Bikiton? Well, first of all, guys, he wouldn't go into Bikiton. He'd go into, it's more of a local jail. There's a couple of them. unlikely would be going to Big-Ton. So he makes this bullshit, when his lips are moving. We always gotta mention that when his lips are moving. Now I have to go to Big-Ton. And on the 14th, and I'm gonna get married on February 8th. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Well, he's in Big-Ton. Apparently, he must have got friendly with the guards again, and they're allowing him to use his phone again. Well, you're quite an influencer, Barry, aren't you? I'm shocked. He lied. Yeah. Oh, I know you people want to see him in there as much as I do, but give it some time. We're just starting. We're just starting. Brisket says he may email you to ask you to be the wedding photographer after seeing your portfolio. Did you guys see what I put on there, by the way? I was just casually, I was just casually going through some photos and whatnot. I took out a few magazines. There's a few I didn't put on there. They're still in the box. And it's not, like I had a body of work in National Geographic or something. That would have been nice. But I didn't. I didn't. But I got to display some of my photographic talent. And some people didn't like it. Oh, that wasn't expected. You see, every time I call these people, they try to call me out, but then I'll call them out. It's the way it works on here. It's a back and forth thing all the time. They're never going to be satisfied with what you show them. But as I said, number one, keep this one point. You, me, or anybody on here don't have to prove anything to anybody else. You know what you did in your life. You know what accomplishments you made. And that's all that should matter to yourself. That's all that matters. I know what I did. I know the people I've met. If I said I did this, then I did it. Unlike most people on here who make a lot of claims of how wonderful their life is and how rich they are and that they're living a good life. A lot of them are not even here in the Philippines. Again, the living vicariously shit again. They haven't made it to the Philippines because they couldn't. They were in no position financially or whatever the situation is, or maybe they haven't reached retirement or waiting for a pension or something. But they act, and they, like the vicarious thing, they act like they're actually living in the Philippines. I mean, look at Don C. Now, I don't know what his girlfriend is, what nationality, but they're living in Thailand. And possibly he met her in the Philippines. I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend that I know it all with him. I have no reason. Do I think he's broke? No, I never thought that. He may over-exaggerate his situation like a lot of people do. And you know what? Don doesn't have to prove anything to me either. I know some haven't been to the PH in decades. Yeah, I know. Well, Popeye, the expert on the Philippines. Yeah, he did spend some time in the Philippines back in the day when he was in the Navy. That was a long time ago. That was a really long time ago. It's probably, well, I was going to say he didn't get laid since then, but he did get married to a Filipina, which, left him. And probably for good reasons. One, I can't validate is that he did strike his wife, and that's why she left him. He was just getting too cantankerous. I can't prove that. So I'll leave that where it is. I know that she left him. I know that. Okay, I'll leave it at that. That's a fact. And I highly doubt this guy's been laid in a couple of decades. I don't know when she left him. It's quite a while ago, hasn't it? So he just sits around with his gin rummy and his camels. You can hear at the end of his voice. Or when he makes a funny statement. Oh, let's just come up with anything. Jack and Jill crossed the word. He has some throat thing going on there, you know. I know he's a smoker. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Okay. One of the last comments. Oh, you're full of shit. Where's the Popeye photos that you said you have? After all that, I made a presentation of something to show that I didn't have to, that I did indeed take a lot of pictures, got things published various ways. But then they had to come out and say, well, yeah, but you're still full of shit. I mean, you said you had pictures of Popeye. Where are they? Well, I do have them. I'm sorry. It's just more. I didn't get up to prepare this morning any pictures of Popeye. Yeah, I got 3 pictures of Popeye. And I'll get around to putting them on. But again, it's like envy. Because most of the people that have thrown all these shit pies out, they can't back up what they say. When you come forward and say, okay, loser, here you go. They just get stymied by it, you know. You mean he actually did that? Oh, what am I going to say now? I got to think of some lame comment to say because I can't him get the best of me. Well, that's sick. It's pathetic and it's also very immature. Even from my early days in photography, before I even went to school, I was winning international, Kodak, of course, which is famous and represented photography. Everybody, you got your film and everything else from them. Even back then, whether it was newspaper, international photo contest, sponsored by Kodak or whoever it might have been, I won awards on that too. And that was before I even entered college. Before I even entered college. But I got the expected reactions, well, that I was expecting. Oh, shit. You mean he actually presented something? What are we going to talk about now? I would have to do a show about it. Look, I make no huge claims to fame or any shit like that. But, you know, I have done some stuff that it's relevant, certainly to me. And it was probably relevant to others. But remember one thing on here is that you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Because even if you do, they're still going to come at you again and say, well, that wasn't much, or, you know, now that you proved them wrong, right? Are they? I certainly haven't kept up with that. And I was getting awards, you know, even before I went to college, you know, studying photography. So other things too. I remember I didn't just go to school of visual arts. I went to New York Tech, where I studied communication arts and minored in, you know, I was even starting to get into a little bit of film production. Now, you might not see that on my videos how talented I really am, but I never got into editing. I suppose I'd be hell on wheels if I actually learned to edit, but I'm not, you know, at this time of my age and how long I've been on YouTube. I mean, what is the use of it? I'm not monetized, and I don't care to be if I am or not, and I don't feel I have any more to prove, really. But, you know, I have accomplished a few things in life that I am proud of. It doesn't matter what people think. Am I proud and happy of what I've done? And the answer would be yes. Expat Forever says, you remember when Popeye was insinuating he was the MP in the Navy? No, maybe he was the janitor. You see, people will overplay what they did in their life, and they can't come forward and prove anything. And remember, as I said, the key words, you don't have to prove anything. You don't. You can say anything that you want. People either believe it or buy it, or, a better word, buy it or not. But you really don't have to prove anything to anybody. Because the fact is, most of these losers, and they are losers on here, haven't done anything even close to what I've done. They didn't have a passion in life. I had a passion. My passion was my photography. Let me tell you something. During those school days in college, I spent a hell of a lot of time commuting to the big city because there was always something to photograph in the Manhattan or any one of its boroughs. And I do that. I was proactive in what I did. Very proactive. I got a lot of joy from what I did. And I was at a heightened type of my life when I really had a passion for something. And everybody should have a passion for something. I don't mean like being a troll and throwing out a bunch of hatred, but having a real passion in life, no matter what it may be. It doesn't have to be photography, it could be anything really. Maybe you create things, create instruments, whatever it might be. Create other works of art, or you're really into science and you like creating little projects and so forth. Doesn't matter what it really is. Let's see. He was a cook in the Navy, probably. Brisket says, do you think when Popeye got the mobility scooter, he smashed a bottle of champagne across it? Had a Christian it before setting it off? I wouldn't be surprised. I still picture, I'd love to see a caricature of him on his mobility scooter. I've always said this, with all his American flags waving on the handlebars, and I could picture that. I mean, this guy is so gung-ho. And look, there's nothing wrong with loving your country. No. There's nothing wrong with believing in something, being devoted to something, other than hate shows and little skits he puts on because he's so miserable with his own life. Everybody should have a passion for something. Otherwise, you lived a life that just really amounted to nothing. I could say, at least, that whether they have them now, and it's not just Edith Beale photographs. Although they were significant, they really were, actually. I used to go on eBay. I was avid on eBay. And I would sell, various types of photographs and so forth. I didn't get rich on it, but I did okay. It was extra money. But it's really nice to know that whether you're a sculptor, whether you're a photographer, whether you're, an oil canvas or, artist, or any kind of an artist, or whether you're just creative in a garage and you create a better engine for whatever it might be. I'm just throwing shit out. You made an accomplishment. It means that you've had you gotta have a passion in life. You have to. Yeah, they do. I went to look that up. How many famous people came out of School of Visual Art? That was a prestigious school when I went there now, but now it's a hell of a lot more prestigious. It was an accredited college even then, But leaps and bounds, there's a lot of people I wish I had a list of people. I don't feel I have to go out of my way to show it, but you're right. There are a lot of people who became very successful in their art. There wasn't just photography there, paintings and drawings and you name it. There's a lot of people came out of there that accomplished a whole lot. Vikings didn't school again. He says he's not even good at that. Have you ever seen his lawn? Yeah, I did. I seen the front. Yeah, I got pictures of his house. I seen the front lawn. You're right. I don't know what he does with his time, but maybe him and Nico should get together because, Nico is the lawn freak. But it's okay if it's a passion of his. But the most current pictures I've ever seen of his lawn, it looks like shit. He was so proud of babying his front lawn. He's buying all these fertilizers and babying the lawn and calling it she, like the blades of grass had a sex. Maybe, I don't know a lot about grass. Actually, I do, but I had some good lawns going in my time. But anyway, about grass. If that's his passion, that's great for him. He needs something. But he didn't succeed because there was always an area that started yellowing up and all the money he spent on his fucking lawn. She is doing good today. Look at her now. I'm sorry, guys. I think that's a little bit off his rocker. Get a real she. Like a real human companion, a real woman with fur and everything. Get a real woman. A real woman. He does know how to waste money. Hello, Anthony AGG. Okay, I should keep on knowing you as Anthony till I accidentally blocked you. I was blocking somebody else. So you came back onto AJG, but I still call you Anthony, whether that was your real name or not. You're Anthony to me. So I don't know. Did you see my show where I presented some photographs? And if you did, tell me what you think. Am I suck ass or do I got talent? Oh, it is your actual name. Okay. All right. Anthony it is. Anthony. Yeah, I'm a little concerned. My uncle, Anthony, which is Tony, this past week or so, he has not answered his phone and went to the daughter's machine. A little concerned, and I left because his daughter, Doris, doesn't have any contact information for me if something actually happened to him. He is over 100 years old. He was just going to be approaching his 101st birthday, and I'm a little concerned because I left a message and said, look, something happened to Tony. Here's my email address at least, send me an email. But Tony always answers his phone for me. He likes talking to me. And my brother used to talk to him quite a bit. Because we're practically the last remaining family members, besides, his daughter and his daughter's kids and stuff like that. Me, there was my brother at one point. My brother used to talk to him on a regular basis. I would call him periodically, but more so now because he's so much older. And Anthony is not, or Tony has not, he just went to the machine. I know something's wrong. Yeah. Brisket said you did well at capturing people's personality. Thank you. That's what it was all about. That defines a photographer. Remember people shoving cameras in your face and you just felt really uncomfortable with that? That's understandable. Even I do. Because you're getting into somebody's personal space. That's what it's all about. You don't want to get into somebody's personal space. It's very uncomfortable. So basically, if you're much of a photographer at all and you want to photograph people or whatever, you can't just, okay, let me shove this lens in your face. You just can't do that. You spend time talking with them, getting to know you a little bit. That's not to be for a long time. Make them feel comfortable with the presence of that freaking lens and that camera. You don't walk to the street like Philly does and shove cameras in people's faces and the prostitutes and all that shit. Maybe even they feel uncomfortable, you know. I don't do that. That's the mark of somebody, a photographer that knows what the fuck they're doing. I can't say I'm an expert at a bunch of things in my life, but I am. I'm certainly no mathematician. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this. But photography was my passion. And you might say, well, why didn't you really continue it? There's so many things you could photograph in the Philippines. Then I asked myself, I don't know why. It's different times. There were times then, you know, that I was a lot younger. I could put a lot more stuff on my wall, which I still could, and you know, because we have a lot of wall space here. And you could even write a book. I mean, I did my own personal one, you know, a booklet. But there were times that when, you know, books, real books, were actually popular, and photographers would publish their body of work in it. Those were the times. And those were the times to do it, but we've changed. Everything's turned digital now. Those were the good old days. Popeye relives this time in the Navy. Oh, Anthony says, you're asking me about my view of that. Well, it's not my interest. You do like many older men do and relive your youth through the good times that were there. Of course, we all do that. That's what he always say, the good old days, the good old days. But they don't have to be the good old days. You can create more current good days. But that's an expression that's used all the time. Yeah, I remember the good old days when things were simpler. Were they really? Not really. Life goes on. It's always been that way. Hardships come up, financial, otherwise. People hate dog fear. The question is, were they the good old days? Not for a lot of people, and certainly not for Barry. I think it was anything but the good old days, and you know, in light of what he talked about. As an example, he says, "You enjoy, I enjoy for you." Right on. Those good old days, the Sunday mornings back in Alabama. Yeah, yeah. I know the music he was playing on his show, the good old days back in Alabama, where the band is sitting around there, socializing and drinking, of course, and talking about the good old days, showing the old church in town, and the good old boys sitting around the restaurant having a beer or something. And why is it always the good old days? I think when people are referring to it, maybe they thought that life was a lot simpler, but was it really simpler? I mean, in all honesty, was life really simple back then? Why do people persist on saying that? Life is never always simple for everybody. In fact, some people regret their past with a passion. With a passion. Some people don't like to revert back to the so-called good old days. They'd rather not think about them. And they hide it like nothing bad ever happened to them. You can't bury something. You got to deal with something. If you have issues from your past, and a lot of people have PTSD, I mean, the people that really have PTSD, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to deal with your issues. If you don't deal with them, they just follow you through the rest of your life. That's a fact. I didn't have a perfect childhood. Good family. We never went without. But they were poor as dirt farmers. They were poor. I don't hold that against them because they were poor. Circumstantial things, whatever. Ambition, or lack of, or whatever it is. It is what it is. It was what it was. We never went without. We never went without. Same as my own daughter. She never went without. She never did. She could never complain about that. I did the best I could. And I think I did a damn good job. Who she is as an adult, you know, more current. Jesus Christ, how old is she now? My God, 45 or something? Well, she was born in 82. Do the math. Just do it for me. You say, you don't even know your own daughter's age? Hey, man, I lost count. You know? It's even hard to believe I have a daughter in her 40s. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously. Mr. Somebody says, no, so he never transferred to prison. He is still in Cebu. What a liar he is. Well, what the fuck did he expect? 42? No. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the math in my head. It's a little early. She was born in 8/15/82. That would make her 40... what? No, I'm not doing a Obama thing here. Boy, he was bad with math. We remember a few incidences on that. He was trying to calculate something or add something up and all that. You know. Look, I'm not thinking, no, she's older than 42. Don't get my mind thinking this morning. Just subtract 2025 minus, 80, 82 from there. 42 rather. See? Yeah. I know enough math that'll save my life. I mean, I made it all the way into algebra, but I found that very difficult. And geometry, forget about that. Trigonometry, forget about it. Never my forte. No, he hasn't transferred to no goddamn prison. He left a comment on the replay show. I hit on his icon and it was him. Another lie. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. Another lie. Unexpected. But, be careful what you wish for or what you say, because it could become true. Chances are he might wind up in Bikitana after all. Let's give it some time. Just give it a little time. Don't be in a rush, folks. Let him enjoy the ambiance of his present accommodations, and, sooner or later, one way or the other, he'll be transferred. I mean, for real. For real. Barry post using the name Yats in My Pants. Is that him? I thought some of the comments from there was kind of lame. Yeah, it could make sense. It comes from. He's just too afraid to come on as himself, and he did though last night. I think. So he doesn't have his phone. They came over there to tell him they were going to take his phone away for the next day to immigration on a holiday on New Year's. On New Year's, mind you, that. They would come all the way from Manila, whatever, and they were going to come there to tell him that tomorrow I'm going to be taking your phone away. Only from Barry. And he's still on. Some people just really never give up, man. It's in their blood. Constantly makes a fool out of himself. That never change, it never will change. Brisket says, maybe the human rights, maybe the human rights people stopped the transfer. Maybe. Anthony says to Mr. Somebody, he says, well, soon enough, Barry's prophecy will come true soon enough. I hope so. But like I said, and I'll continue to say, I can't predict the future. I could bet on it. I'd probably be right, but somebody would lose the bet. You gotta admit, I've been right with a lot of my, let's call it, prophecies about people on here, haven't I? I never steered you wrong on that. And some of my prophecies came true. I knew Fazio was going to croak. I knew that, you know, and had a pretty good idea about Ed Lippitt and some others. But, I was not surprised. Soon enough, Barry's prophecy will come through soon enough, yeah. Well, you make your bed, you gotta lie in it, as the saying goes. And he did a whole lot of that. Where did it get him? Nowheresville, that's where it got him. When they do transfer him back home, when that time comes, he's going to be living in Nowhereville. That would be the name of the town, Nowhereville, because I don't think any town would want him. But then again, he probably has some accommodations waiting for him, and it's not his family. He'll be arrested as a felon. Anthony says, correct me if I'm wrong, any of Barry's claims of filing cases or anything have come true? No. Well, his influence on his girlfriend to put a complaint on me, that came true because of a complaint, but he coerced his girlfriend to do so. All right, enough of that. History is history. We know what he did. Remember, whose video is that? We know who you are. Who put that video on? Who was that one, the original on that video? We know who you are. And they said he was a wife beater and so forth and so on. Then they showed the actual, actually they played the actual recording of him admitting that he beat the shit out of his wife. And that's, I think they're actually wording he used. Yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. And they repeated it. Yeah, I beat the shit out of my wife. I beat the shit out of my life. That's what he said. He goes, I don't hit no women. I don't hit any women. Well, he did it with his wife, and guess what? He got 6 months. So jail is not new to him. You'd think this would be a comfortable ride for him because he's had experience, But he did get 6 months in prison of some sort. Admitted by him, not made up by me or you, by his own words. Yeah, I got to go through that box of photos. I got to really organize this shit. And I don't know what the hell we're doing with this stuff. When I'm dead and gone, I told my girlfriend, I said, do what you want with it, man. You want to burn it, you burn. No, I'm not going to, I said, do what you want. Do what you want. The what ifs, could have beens, whatever. No, I never wound up working for National Geographic. And yeah, that would have been the ideal job for me. Get to travel. I like field work. I love. If I had to travel on assignment for a great organization like, National Geographic, man, sure, that would have been for me, I was not a studio photographer, I didn't like that shit, I wasn't a commercial photographer type stuff, I've worked for them, a couple of them actually, and it actually was, let me tell you something about that, with Matthew Brady Incorporated, that was the name of it, the company name that he called himself. He was a commercial photographer. And it's quite a stressful setup. And the way it works, I'll take you into the annals of what it's like to be a successful commercial photographer. And it's stressful. What happened in those days, I can speak for them. Okay, your client comes in. She's an art director. Could be for GE, like one of the projects we worked on, Progress for Man. It started off as Progress, it's Progress for People. It started off as Progress for Man. But of course, the women movement and all that, they said, what do you mean Progress for Man? That's too sexist or whatever. So they had to change the campaign title to Progress for People. Because that just didn't didn't slide over very well. You know, the Gloria Steinem movement and all this shit at the time. It was GE. I worked on him with that campaign. And it showed this multicolored light bulb. It was very well done. And I created the same thing too. And I brought it to him and said, wow, you copying my work? He laughed. I said, I know. I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I did. He was shocked. But yeah, I was part of that campaign. Progress for People. And that was a campaign for GE at that time. Cut and paste the above link. What link? I don't see any links. Oh, you are what you are. Yeah. But let me tell you what's involved in there. It's stressful because usually you have an art director from a big company like that, and if they're going to do commercial campaigns for their company, let me tell you something. It's just like a Hollywood production. I'm not kidding you, man. I'm not kidding you. He has a ladder. Of course, they weren't using digital at that time either. He's got his camera set up on a tripod, and he has it elevated, and he has a table on there. And usually it's diffused lighting. It's opaque, kind of a plastic, you know, with the lighting to make it some good even lighting. And it's you know, it's up to me and other assistants to make sure that the lighting was perfect. If it wasn't, the art director spoke up. She herself, the art director, or he or she, it was a she at the time on this campaign, would climb up the ladder and physically look through the lens to see what the camera was, you know, pointing at and how she envisioned. Because you see, what they do is they give the commercial photographer a kind of a template of some sort, you know, or blueprint of, this is what I want to see for this product, you know, whether it's food. And here's a little something that you probably never knew. Anyway, let me finish with that. I'm kind of, my ADHD, whatever's getting ahead of me, as usual. And it has to be perfect. Before he starts snapping photos of this, the lighting has to be perfect. The product has to be placed there perfectly. It's a big production. It's like Quiet on the Set type thing. The lights go out in the studio and the only lights are on. It's like lights, action, camera. That's exactly what it is, like a movie studio. Not too much different. Until she's satisfied, the art director, then she gives the go-ahead. Oh yeah, and here's a little trick of the trade, not my trade. I wasn't into commercial photography, really. When you see a photograph, oh, it's a nice turkey for Thanksgiving, just came out of the oven, man. It could be another food product, right? And you know when something's hot and it just comes out of the oven and it's steaming, right? And you see that steam coming off. You know what that is? It's a chemical that they put on there that creates that little steam. But you never knew that. Little trivia, you never knew that. No, you can never eat that turkey because actually that turkey, it's not even cooked. The turkey was going over with a substance that makes it look like it's roasted. Oh, like it just came out of the oven. Something that you never knew. See, come on my show, you learn something. No, you can never eat that turkey afterwards. That went in a trash can afterwards. But all you see, that steaming, because it's hard to go photograph something right out of the oven, then you got to get your camera set up and the lighting and everything. You can't do that. So they have a liquid substance that they put on there that creates like a little smoke, a little steam. Bet you didn't know that. Ain't that something, man? Robert Sutton says Barry's favorite saying is, look into his eyes. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Exactly. That's like Brevis's eyes, too. Nobody's home. Look at his eyes when he's at the bar. And he's got his camera stuff and he decides to, you know, look into the camera and he just stares with a glare. you know, almost like a Jack Nicholson thing. I'm here. Oh, frightening, man. Really frightening. But that was a good one from Barry. Yeah, look into his eyes. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Doesn't he realize that he just downed himself and made himself look like a total fucking fool? Yeah, I've never forgotten that. I talk about that every so now and again or whatever. Can't make this shit up, man. I suppose you could, but nobody's there, dogs. That's across the street. All right, come on, girls. Nobody. Can't make this shit up. So anyway, getting back to what I was beginning to talk about at the beginning of the show, they kind of called me out. Kept on seeing comments, oh, can't believe everything he said. Oh no, you never met Drew Barrymore. You never did this. You never did that. You never got published. Never won the awards. You never did this. You never did that. So when you actually present something to them, it like throws them to the wall. It just, oh shit. How am I going to react to this now? He actually proved something. Then they get extra mad. Then they come back with more ammunition. Yeah, but, and this is a Don C thing. Yeah, but I got more money than you. You're a peasant or something. Who cares about how much money you have, Don C? I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect my life. You're not putting food on my table. I don't give a shit how much money you have. But you're obviously not that happy in your life having all this money you claim. Because you're always on fucking YouTube making lame comments about me. How about spending more time with your wife or girlfriend, whatever she is to you? That'll be a novel idea, Don. Why don't you do that? Why don't you concentrate on things in Thailand? You're not in Philippines. You're in Thailand, last time I checked. You're in Thailand, fool. So again, last night I decided to take a few things out and I had pleasure doing that because I like looking back on some of these things anyway, Oh, that must be the German Shepherds coming by now this time. Oh, there they go. Oh, there they go. Listen to this. They hate the Shepherds. Guy down the block, the Middle Eastern guy, has about 5 shepherds. Some of them, There he goes. I used to talk to this guy a lot. Almost considered him a friend, but he did something that was a little dastardly. I won't go into that. So I don't really acknowledge him anymore. But my dogs sure as hell acknowledge his dogs. These are country dogs. It gives them something to do, country dogs. That's what country dogs do. Oh, God, I'm looking at this pile of photographs here, and I'm thinking to myself, like I said, I do character photographs. Here's another one. This is of an actual Hawaiian guy. Big guy, too. A real Hawaiian, like Hawaiian blood. This is an example of the things I do. This photograph brings out a whole lot of character on this guy. And that's the whole idea of being a good photographer, man. This photograph shows who the hell he is. Shows a lot of character in his face. That's the whole idea. I'm not a point and shoot dude. I don't point and shoot. I don't do that. There's a lot more to photography than meets the eye.
God, you know what I have here? I don't know if they're worth anything. When Barack Obama became president, I decided to buy a shitload of these while I was in Hawaii. Aloha, Mr. President. Barack Obama takes the oath. They're all in great shape, too. I've got a little stack of these things. Yeah, I collect some things sometimes. I'm just looking through this shit. People magazine. Look at that. Barack Obama makes history. It's all sealed. People magazine. I don't know what to do with this shit. To be honest with you, you hate to throw it away. But you know, what am I going to do with it? Except store it away. Nothing more. I mean, what else can I do with it? If somebody has an interest in that, they want to buy it off me, sure, I'll sell it to you. Sure. Why not? Why not? So if you have an interest, yeah, let me know. I'm just kind of peering through this shit. See what I'm going to be up against, trying to organize all these damn photographs. My goodness. Holy moly. Well, I started this last night, so even this is cracked, the glass on this. My God. We'll take you in the twilight zone. There's a self-portrait of myself. I got a .357 Magnum in my hand. This was, of course, superimposed. It's a crack in the glass. I'm on a highway, and this is actually from, the background is from, God, what was a sci-fi movie or something? That's me with a .357. Isn't that cool? I think it is, anyway. I'm not going to show you who this is. Oh, why not? Reflection in a mirror. The closest thing Frisbee has a published art is a badly completed coloring book that he did last year with everyone. You got a point. My, oh my, Delilah. I got a shitload of stuff here, man. So, number one, keep in mind, you, me, or anybody out there, you don't have to prove diddly shit to anyone. You know what you did with your life, in your life, and you don't have to prove diddly shit to anyone. But sometimes, you like to call people out on their shit. And I enjoy that immensely. Yeah, there's something in here that I've been looking for, but it's just going to mean that I'm going to have to take everything out. And I said I'll do that sometime this morning. I'm going to regret this. But oh well. Sometimes you got to do what you fucking got to do. Pardon me. So much stuff here. Oh God, even a little album. Old Girlfriend from Seattle. That was Suzanne. Now, and I was in San Francisco. San Francisco. I made a mistake of opening this up, Gil, and I'll have to organize it later. Yeah, we're at the wharf. Yeah, she's very pretty. Very pretty woman. Let's see. And yeah, that is me. Fisherman's Wharf. That's me. And what else? Now this is what do you call beach in California? Stimson Beach. Where me and her made a trip. Stimson Beach. It's also known